Welcome back to the show, and I'm very excited in this episode to be talking about this tune.
You keep on giving me the hold up. You know I wish you'd make your mind up. Cause when we getting on it so you used to be my Romeo. Cause you see my dear
That's right, it's Romeo by Basement Jaxx. It was released, 25 years ago? Isn't that crazy? 2001. It was the second album of theirs, Rooty, and it was the lead single off that album. So Rooty had a bunch of bangers, and a lot of them had this similar catchy, upbeat, infectious house kind of sound, just like this. They were huge at the time, right? They blew up massively before even this album. But where did they start? Is what you're probably asking yourself. You're saying, where did they begin? And would you believe South London? That's right, South London. Southeast London, some would say. The best part of London, where this is being filmed right now. Would you believe? Southeast London, it is a banger. If you haven't been, come on, get involved. Shoot me a comment and let's go for a pint in Camberwell, right? Let's do it. It's an invitation. So anyway, they were also in Southeast London. I believe they were from somewhere else, but they had moved there, and they bonded over a love of house music. Big whoop-de-doo there. But let me tell you, it was a specific type of house music. It was the sound from across the pond. That's right, across the pond in New York and Chicago. House music was deep, atmospheric, and a bit serious, and a bit cool, subjectively, or cooler than the music in Europe and the UK. At least that's what they thought, right? So they bonded over love of that type of sound. Simon had the gear, Felix had the vibe, whatever you want to do. They both had something, but they started collaborating and making music, and their first EP sounded like this. Deep house, right? Love to hear it. So they put that out, and rumor has it Felix, who was wearing his suit from his office job, took the demo and went down to Mark Jones of Wall of Sound Records and played it for him and said, "What do you think of this? Is that something you would put on your label?" And Mark was like, "Yeah, I think I would actually." And then Felix was like, "Will you pay for the pressing?" Mark was like, "Yeah, go on. You drive a hard bargain, Mr. Suit Man. Let's do it." So they got their records on this label, and they just went out and distributed everywhere they could. Back in the day, that's what you had to do. You couldn't just upload an Instagram story with a video of you singing your song. You had to go out and give it to labels and give it to clubs and give it to people and get it distributed and get people out. And they did a good job of that. And after a while, you'd hear this song played places. And one place it was played was Across the Pond by Tony Humphries in New York. So they were like, Tony Humphries, right? Big house guy was playing their song. They were delighted. Now, at the same time, they were doing something that I'm a little bit guilty of myself. Throwing parties in Southeast London, and particularly in Camberwell, Brixton area. They throw these parties with the Basement Jaxx name, and they threw different nights, and they love that kind of vibe, right? They love just getting people there, no pretentiousness, just random heads, cool people to come and party and just have fun. That's what it's all about, right? Keeping it underground, keeping it cool, getting a random spot, setting up a sound system, getting some local acts to come and play, and they did very well at that. legendary nights it turned into. Even Daft Punk played at a pub in Camberwell with Basement Jaxx, right? Crazy stuff. So, as this was going on, they started releasing more songs. One of their songs that picked up after 30p was Fly Life. So let's take a listen to this. That kind of stuff, right? You can hear their sound evolving. That is a banger. I remember hearing that on some Essential mix before, not knowing what it was, and it's been used many times in different mixes and that. So very cool tune there, Fly Life. So they would play these at their parties, they would get other people, they would collaborate, they would use other kind of aliases and stuff, and they just loved that kind of underground scene. But their tunes were so good that they kept getting more and more popular. They put out their first album, Remedy, which has some bangers on it like Red Alert and Rendezvous. And by the time that second album came out, Rooty, they were pretty huge, right? They were after doing big tours, and like they'd be playing, headlining Glastonbury and stuff like that. So they were big, right? Something else to note is that they were, I guess some people might see them as big beat. They were a bit kind of separate to that, more into house, but they did rely a lot on samples, as was the style at the time. And they had a really good unique sound of kind of energy and kind of like world music type samples and stuff. And they're just brilliant, right? Check them out if you haven't already. And let me know what's your favorite Basement Jaxx song down there, or let me know when you saw them or that kind of stuff. I love reading the comments and reading the stories. That's what I love to do. I sit back with a drink, like a highball I have today, and I read all your stories and all your comments. So come on, what's the story with Basement Jaxx? Let me know. Anyway, I'm digressing. Romeo's a banger, right? That's for sure. The vocalist on it was Kelly LaRock, and I wanted to kind of play a tune she's on with 10 Below, My Love.
I ain't got no story, no merch tell. Ain't gonna rap for you, baby. I don't do well.
That's right, it is garage, right? She was big in the garage scene, and big beat, mid-90s, having its moment, becoming electronic music, becoming mainstream, like I talked about. Basement Jaxx firmly in there, but garage was bubbling up and becoming a big sound in London especially. So Kelly LaRock, who sang on Romeo, was singing in garage tunes as well. It's a great sound as well. I never really got into garage much. Like I knew the stuff that would be on the radio in Ireland a bit, but it's cool. It's a really cool sound. And it's coming back a little bit as well today, as is house and as is this whole throwback movement, right? And that's what I have to mention. This next singer, a lady called Pink Panthers, who I believe is also based in London right now. And she released this song, which is trending now. It's number 11 on the music trending chart. And she sampled Basement Jaxx, Romeo. So we got a forward sample here. Listen to this kind of sound. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, right? She's sampling Basement Jaxx. Apparently she worked a bit with Basement Jaxx and she really appreciates them, and she sampled them on her mixtape and all this stuff, but she is part of this new era that's doing a lot of throwback stuff. Listen to this. So yeah, PinkPantheress, shout out to her. She's a singer / producer, and she's putting out some good stuff. And this throwback stuff is big, right? A lot of the generation now that never knew these bands are rediscovering stuff like Basement Jaxx or drum and bass, garage. Same with the devices, stuff like samplers and digicams and consoles are all coming back, which we love to see. Get off the screens, right? Get into some physical gear like we're looking at today. But anyway, that is Pink Panthers, and shout out to her. I'm very happy with that kind of stuff charting again, folks. It's brilliant as a music enthusiast. But anyway, she sampled Basement Jaxx from 25 years ago. Basement Jaxx were also sampling, so we know enough about what's going on now. Why don't we get into the samples? The first sample I'm going to look at today comes from Cloud One, aka Patrick Adams. That's right, it was a one-man group kind of vibe. Patrick Adams was a legend in the New York disco and house scene, and he was really known for getting the parties going, getting the dance floor vibing, and getting the people shaking their money makers like it was going out of style. AKA, he was a good DJ, right? And this is the tune Atmosphere Strut, which was one of the records he put out in '76. He's just jamming out on a synth there, on a Moog or something, just saying, yo, this is me, get groovy. And that was his style. Like I said, he was the man who would play all the instruments on these tunes, right, and put them together with P&P Records, which is Peter Brown and Patricia Gilliard, right? So good times all around in New York. And it's kind of funny that Patrick Adams had an alias, you know, Cloud One. Basement Jaxx also had alias. I think Banana Crew was one of theirs. They also liked filling dance floors, as did Patrick, and they also wanted to get the dance floor vibing, right? So it's all similar scenes. What was happening in Camberwell in the late 90s with Basement Jaxx was happening in New York in the late 70s and 80s. So it all comes full circle. And then you got Pink Panthers doing it in the mid 20s, late 20s, whatever we're in now. It's all circles, ebbs and flows. This is what we love to see. But anyway, this is Atmosphere Strut, which I personally like. But that's not the song that Basement Jaxx sampled. Oh no, 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 no. They sampled another one, and it goes by the name of Don't Let My Rainbow Pass Me By. Now this was another song that Patrick Adams created as part of the many ones he did under different aliases, but he had Margot Williams on vocals. Let's give it a listen. Beautiful tune, bit of a deep cut to be fair, but you hear he loved that little mini moog or whatever he was playing, and you got Margot singing. A lovely tune from a great era, right? Disco. Get stuck in, right? Unlimited bangers from that era you can listen to. So let's sample it in, right? That's what we need to do now. But before we do that, I have to introduce the co-host, Dr. Sample. Dr. Sample, why don't you say hello? Is there anything else you would like to say?
I just came to say hello.
Okay.
I could stick around.
Thank you. Please stick around. He's being a bit weird today, right? Are you going to stick around?
I could stick around.
Good. That's the Doctor. He's my co-host. He's a great guy, despite the vicious rumors and disgusting allegations. Right, let's get stuck in. And the sample comes from the very beginning, right? And with the Doctor here, I have empty pads in bank C, so I'm going to fill them in. Now, there are these kind of stabs that are at the beginning of this song that we want to get in. Take a listen. So I want to put them in. So I'm going to record it once and then resample it, right? Because for each pad I want something different, I have to resample. So let's get it in first of all. Record on 1. So I have that. I'm going to record that 5 times, right? Resample into number 2. I'm going to do it again. Resample into number 3. Number 4. So now, and I think I need 5, so it's down, 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 down. Let's just do it first and then we'll see what we need. Oh no, I don't think that's one. So anyway, you do that. And the last one, so let me mark this again. So look. There you go. So you got no, it's but it's the second one. Let me resample one more time and then we're going to have it perfectly. That second one, I believe. I think it's those two, right? So we got that's it. That's the sample. Let's put them in the start level right. Bit of a weird one. And let's gate. No, that's not gate. Sorry. Let's get them right. That's a weird one. That's fine, right? So what we want to do is get the drums under it so we can play along with the drums. Now what's cool is there is a club mix of Romeo, right? So if the single Romeo is enough for you, look at the club mix, right? It's got even more parts. So we want to get the drums. Let's go back. one-shot wonder. Not exactly. We're messing here, right? We're messing. Let's get him in one more time. And let's mark it in like we should do. This a bit louder. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. You have to pitch those as well. Our favorite thing to do on this show. So let's pitch that as our main one. Oh, I had it. That's it. So if we want to add the pitch to the other ones, remain. When you put it on your so-so, you used to be my Romeo. Oh, and let it all go. There you go, right? Let's see how the club mix is getting on in the background. Sounds pretty similar, but look what it gets into down here. And then it gets even crazier. So you can hear a bunch more of Basement Jaxx cool stuff there at the end. But anyway, there's one other sample from the intro, and I thought it was a cool one. And something again to mention, back in this day, a lot of these acts were borrowing and picking up each other's samples. So they found this band, right? This group called the Amorphous Androgynous, and their song Mountain Goat. And that glittery ambient kind of thing at the beginning is what they took. So the Amorphous Androgynous was also the alias of another group, the Future Sounds of London, right? They were a very boundary pushing, early sampling, ambient slash drum and bass slash big beat, I don't even know, breakbeat, what you'd call them, right? They're really cool. I definitely have plans to do a sample breakdown of one of their tunes, so watch out. But this was their song, Mountain Goat. Hear some of the layers that were picked out. But what I thought was cool when I was listening to this tune is this drum break that comes in up here. Really far in the background, kind of subdued. That's from Schooly D tune. Thought that was cool, right? That almost sounds like interference coming from something. And that's from 1993, right? So shout out to them. And they have that sample at the beginning, which we can record in for the crack. Now that wave noise isn't there. Somehow they got rid of that. Maybe it was a different channel or something. But anyway, for demonstration purposes, let's just use that. So the intro kind of goes like this. The pitch was turned off. Keep on giving me that. Used to be my Romeo. There you go, folks. That's it. That's the sample breakdown today. I hope it was knowledgeable or informational or educational, whatever you want to call it. Next time, drop by and say if you're in Southeast London, and Basement Jaxx, if you're watching, please come and say. I'll be glad to hang out with you. Please subscribe and like and all that good stuff if you want to. If not, just scroll on and watch something else. Have a great time, a blessed day, and we'll see you later.